got done masturbating, and
No, I did not.
there was a slight delay in the start of the episode because Evan had to finish
his masturbatory pleasures. Yeah,
had to finish squeezing one out.
Yeah,
which honestly is fine. He's a healthy, red-blooded young American man, and
I cannot pod on a full nut. No.
You ever try recording on a full sack? Oh man, I'll tell you what. So that actually is a great segue into our advertisement for today, which is for videos of Evan masturbating that I will just be selling independently online. So if you have any interest in buying one or more than one of those, because I've got a lot, you just reach out to me personally on the podcast email, which is leftunreadpod@gmail.com. Obviously, you don't have to just email us if you want the videos, but we've got the videos. So
also, we can as the tweet I sent out before we recorded said, I was convinced that I had no idea what this episode was going to be. You told me that we talked about it. I had no memory. Now that I'm looking at your notes, I'm the dingus.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Well, the reason I said we're both the dingus is because it's a stupid fucking episode.
Well, we are both.
But you did know about this. You've just spent your week of vacation in a cum-soaked haze. Staycation, baby.
Yeah, just
get out the extra virgin olive oil, because
I've been fucking busting nuts all around this place like a dump truck, dude. Just dropping loads.
Just dropping off fat fucking loads. Man, good for you, dude, honestly, because there's really nothing better than that sixth fucking dusty nut.
Just shooting blanks.
It's just like, by the last one. All right. So welcome back to Left Unread.
Welcome to Cumtown. All right.
Yeah, right. Welcome to the Cumtown podcast. That's us. You know us.
Famously.
Famously, it's us.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a stupid episode intentionally because we did a lot of work leading up to the last one, and then I had to delay the last one, so Evan had to do double work, and I've got a really big series that I'm working on starting next week.
Triples keeps it safe, though. I should have done triples.
Yeah. Actually, that's how I know about the ice cream store, because I drove by one earlier today, and one of the doubles, the double of the Barracuda. Actually, I have triples of the Barracuda. I have triples, right? If I don't have triples, then the other stuff's not true.
He has triples of the Barracuda.
See, the Barracuda is the one I have triples of. Oh, no, actually, I also have triples of the Roadrunner, too. But just those two. And your dad and I are the same age, and I'm rich, and I have triples of the Barracuda and the Roadrunner.
Cool. Can we get the check, please, when you get a chance?
Oh, this is good news. That deal went through. Yeah. All right, that's gonna work out. I have triples of the Nova now. Triples makes it safe. Now, triples is best. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode where we talked to Alex Herbert from Providence Leftist Radio. That was really cool. As you can tell, and as I sort of realized as I was editing it, we don't have a lot of experience with interviews, and so we went in with a very different idea of what that was going to be, and then it ended up being kind of more off the cuff. And
no, it's funny. I realized after the fact that we probably should have talked about what the fuck perestroika and glasnost meant,
we didn't.
Regardless,
whatever. It was a really fun conversation, and we got a lot of experience.
And you guys can use Google, so just fucking Google
exactly. It's not like there's not a million other history podcasts out there that do ostensibly the same thing. So we had a lot of fun, and whatever. Thanks for listening. This week is going to be an episode that I've been sort of toying around with for a couple weeks now. This is the Cryptid episode. So it's going to be a lot looser. It's not... It's researched, but it's not I don't really fucking care how it goes.
Okay.
So I'm just going to talk about a bunch of different cryptids. If you guys don't know what cryptids are creatures that are said by some to inhabit this planet of ours alongside us. However, they are unconfirmed. So, I mean, a famous example of a cryptid would be like Sasquatch, and everybody knows about Sasquatch.
Goddamn Sam Squanch.
Right. Everybody knows about Sasquatch. So I don't want to talk about Sasquatch, because you know what? That's like really well-trodden territory. And I think that talking about Chupacabra and the Loch Ness Monster as the 900th podcast to do so is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So what I set out to do, and what I think will be pretty fun, is to find a bunch of cryptids that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Now, some of them kind of fall into the classic tropes. So some of these are like, you know, the ape man, the fucking water dinosaur, the small people that live in the woods, like leprechauns, you know.
Yeah.
Those are pretty universal tropes, and I think that's really interesting that across, you know, all the multitudinous cultures of planet Earth, those basic tropes continue to persist. But
for sure,
these are dumber examples.
Yeah.
Now, I say dumber.
This isn't Bigfoot, you know.
No, we've got Smallfoot on here.
Yeah.
But so all this to say, like, when I say dumb, I don't mean to like degrade anyone's tradition or anyone's culture or anything like that. But these are all really fucking stupid, and I hate them all. I hope none of them are real, and
I hope they're all real, and I love them all.
Yeah, maybe they are. They might all be real. Frankly, they probably are all real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's it. That's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to talk about them. I'm going to introduce you guys to a vast array of strange and fantastic made-up creatures, and I hope that feels fun for you, because it's gonna hopefully be fun for me. Before we do that, though, there were a couple things we wanted to talk about, weren't there?
Oh yeah, the water shit.
Yeah,
right?
the water shit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What was the one that I sent? So this is a thing that like Cam and I initially started mentioning it to Cam, like I was like joking when I said this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, over time, and I think we may have even mentioned this on an earlier episode of the podcast or whatever. But unfortunately, over time, my joking of this being a conspiracy that I believe in has started to really become one that I very much do believe in, which is that there's like coming water shortages due to climate change, and that we're being prepped to rethink the way that we use water and live amongst the water in our life.
Yeah.
So it started off with just like, you know, nasty celebrities talking about how they don't shower because they're gross pieces of shit. Like, I forget, like, I don't know. It's just like suddenly out of nowhere.
Terry Crews, I remember, was one of them.
Yeah, Terry Crews, I believe he said, if you're not sweating, you don't need to shower. And then The Rock came. So this is like after already multiple people had said that they don't bathe their children, or that they bathe very rarely, and that your body's natural oils or whatever stupid shit clean you. I don't know about these people. If I don't shower for a day, I start to get real stinky. But then The Rock was just like, man, I shower fucking like 3 times a day. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, but like, you know, and I had seen people joking about it on Twitter, and I had sent it to Cam, like, man, this is like some kind of like preparing people to, you know, get used to showering less by just having celebrities, like, I don't know, fucking, you know,
shill for no water.
Yeah. But then, what was the one that I sent you recently? We text too much, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, so there are a lot of celebrity tweets where they'll be like, you know, oh man, you like you said with Terry Crews, where he's like, if you're not sweating, you don't need to shower. And then they'll be like, you know, news reports where it's like, you know, FDA says that like everything that you know about staying hydrated is a myth, and it's just like a bunch of bunch of shit like that, where it's like just all articles that are aimed at like getting you to use less water, whether that be bathing less, or you don't need to drink as much water as you think you do, or the hazards of, you know, being overhydrated. It's funny because it does start to feel like they're getting us used to the inevitable like water rationing.
So the one that I sent you from the 19th, so you know, a few days ago, was a New York Times article. How much water do you actually need pretty much everything you know about hydration is wrong. And then, so that's pretty much just like water shortage propaganda incoming.
Yeah, and it really does feel that way. It really is starting to feel like I don't know, man. Those like 7 nut days might be not too long for this world.
Yeah, I can't lose my precious bodily fluids.
You got to conserve your water, man.
Yeah. But we could probably just get rid of I don't know, golf courses and shit like that.
That'll never happen.
Water. But that will never happen, no, because rich people
we have to get used to having less water.
The normals, yeah.
Yeah,
the normals just have to, start drinking our own piss. But the rich people can, they can still keep their golf courses and all that stupid shit. And their lawns that are acres of unused land that's just normal green grass that needs to constantly be watered.
And then fast forward to 20 years from now, and Immortan Joe is letting the water spill out. Be careful you do not get too addicted to the water. It will drive you mad. I don't remember what he says, but something like that.
Do not, my friends, become addicted to water. It will take hold of you, and you will resent its absence.
Some shit about being shiny and chrome in Valhalla.
Oh my god, dude, that movie fucking rips.
It's awesome.
That's such a good movie. Yeah, no, but it's very reminiscent, this water thing. It's very reminiscent of the all these initiatives to get consumers to recycle or to conserve energy or to use fewer fossil fuels when 95% of all the world's pollution comes from corporate factories and whatever, and it's we as the general public account for such a small amount, and yet for whatever reason the burden of adjusting falls to us because they're not gonna. Amazon probably uses more fossil fuels in a day than a lot of countries use an entire fucking year.
Sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sniffly again. That just means more editing for me. It sucks. Well, anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that water thing. But without further ado, let's talk about some stupid-ass fucking made-up creatures. I mean, they're not made up. They're totally real.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise. And suddenly, to my surprise,
he did the mash.
He did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master.
Yeah, I mean, the time already passed for this joke, but I just want to get it in at some point, Bigfoot is the preferred nomenclature. It's only called a Sasquatch if it's from the Saskatchewan province of Canada. So
cool. Is that true?
Damn. What? No.
So that was a joke?
Yeah.
Oh man, Jesus Christ!
Joke.
No, it's not. But
it's a great one.
All right. Well,
it's a fantastic joke.
Fuck, man. Fuck. Shut it down. Just shut it down. This sucks. All right. Anyway, I'm just kidding. That was very funny. I'm very proud of you. I don't mean to be such a bully. All right. Do you want to talk about our first creature?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the first creature that we're going to talk about today is the Dawarhu.
That's not how you pronounce that.
It is. I did a lot of research. Irish sucks. It looks like it's
Irish. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It looks like it's Dobar Chew, but it's Dawarhu.
I really. It's just a brief aside. I really wish. Please have an update for Crusader Kings 3 where they go back to the Irish spellings of things like they did in CK2, where it's not the county of Desmond. It's I don't know. There's a period in the word where it's MHMH or some shit like that.
Yeah, dude, I just, as a general rule, I Google
Desmond.
Proper pronunciations of any Irish word, and I already didn't.
No doubt.
I definitely didn't say it 100%, but they're just fucked up.
Yeah,
they're fucked up. It's a fucked up language.
It's a very fucked up language.
So we're talking about,
make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Dawarhu. I had to kick it off with this one because I think this guy is just really funny.
That's a type of guy.
No, it's not. I call a lot of these things guys in my notes. I don't know why. That's very
type. That's all right.
It's very gendered language, and I don't know what I was thinking, guys. But see, there I did it again. So the Daoirchu is a semi-aquatic creature out of Irish folklore. It's basically a 15-foot-long, all-white otter dog, half river otter, half dog. Its name means king otter. Sometimes it's called the Irish crocodile. They're said to be especially aggressive towards humans and dogs. So, like,
What the fuck?
this is going to be a trope throughout the episode, but a lot of these cryptids, their whole shtick, their whole deal, is that they like post up like in a hole or in a cave or in a body of water, and then when an unsuspecting person walks by, they eat you. And so this guy is no different. They eat people and dogs. So they used to supposedly live throughout Ireland, but now they're mainly confined to the various lochs, which is the Irish term for lochs, like Loch Ness, lakes, big lakes. They're mainly found now on the coastal islands. Now, they're not actually found fucking anywhere, but, you know, dingbats say that they see them when they want to make the local paper.
That'd be pretty crazy if there were, like, crocodiles in Ireland.
Yeah, and even crazier if there were...
Some of these pictures look like crocodiles.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. They either look like some kind of nasty Pokemon, just like a normal otter, or a crocodile.
You should look up every single one that I talk about because some of the pictures of these things are hysterical. I chose these creatures, and you listening along, we don't have like a website that you can go to, but you should be Googling these as I talk about them because holy smokes, man, some of these photos, I chose a lot of these based on the strength of the photos alone. The images, rather. So they're said to hunt in packs. You'll go up to the edge, and all of a sudden you'll see a Daoirchu, and it'll come at you, right? It'll bite you, and then, like the raptors in Jurassic Park, it's like, boom, two more coming from the side. Clever girl.
Clever girl.
And next thing you know...
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. So
didn't say the magic word.
You'll find yourself completely ripped to shreds by these nasty
little
giant
otters.
How stupid would you feel if you got fucking killed by an otter, you know?
I'd feel stupid.
Their first attested modern sighting of a Daoirchu was in 1684. Some guy named Roderick O'Flaherty, which is a pretty Irish name, wrote a little book called A Description of West Connacht, which is one of the traditional, I guess, provinces of Ireland. And since then, you know, people still claim to see them. And they, you know, if your dog goes missing, it's like, oh, did the Daoirchu get it? Anyway, so that's the Daoirchu. It's pretty stupid. I fucking don't like it. It's a pretty stupid fucking animal. And I hope they're not out there. The next animal that I want to talk about, I mean, we're keeping the gravy train rolling. It's the Loveland frog. Okay.
The Loveland frog.
Have you ever heard of the Loveland frog?
I have not. Is it a frog?
You bet your ass. So, if you thought that a giant otter dog was stupid...
The Loveland frogman.
He's
look at this fucking thing.
Yeah. So it's a giant...
These pictures rock.
It's a giant, stupid, fucking idiot frog man. It's from Ohio, which, you know... Describe for the listener what you're seeing.
I'm looking at like the funniest fucking... So there's a bridge and it's misty.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 meters before the bridge, before the little archway, is a frog standing up on its back legs, like bipedal, kind of hunched over a little bit, and he's got this look on his face like he's just fixing to sell you something.
Yeah, they're
like
mischievous.
This little smirk, and he's just sort of walking towards you. He's got like a little distended belly, like an old alcoholic man, and he's just he's looking to sell you some wares as you're wandering around in this little marshland. So the thing about the Loveland frog, and he's one of the few exceptions to my lure you in and eat you rule that I mentioned previously,
he doesn't do anything. He doesn't hurt you. He's not mischievous, really. He's just a bipedal, pot-bellied frog man. He reportedly spends most of his time around Loveland, Ohio, which is...
I just sent you the picture I was looking at.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, he looks pretty stupid. But, yeah, so specifically they claim that he lives in the Little Miami River, which is, funnily enough, not in Miami. It's in Ohio.
The University of Miami, Ohio.
Exactly. So he was first reported by Loveland Police Patrolman Ray Shockey on March 3rd, 1972 at 1 a.m. And this totally not hammered cop was apparently just cruising down by the banks of the Little Miami, fully not hammered. And suddenly his headlights illuminate this stupid fat little frog man scuttling across the road.
Yeah.
So he slams on the brakes and he stops and he's observing this frog man. And then he says it crouches down like a frog. And then it leaps over the guardrail at the side of the road and into the river, which is a very weird thing to see on just a sober drive by the Little Miami River. So here's the thing. A couple of weeks later, another cop, a guy named Mark Matthews, he's driving by the same area. He spots the crouching creature, bothering nobody, doing nothing, right near where Shockey had seen his frogman. So being a good, equally sober cop, he pulls out his gun and he
totally not just slamming some road sodas.
Dude, he shoots the thing to death.
Oh, God.
So he recovers the body and he brings it to show Shockey, and they both realize that it's an iguana. It's probably somebody's pet iguana that has escaped, and it's missing its tail. And so, if you saw a tailless iguana kind of shuffling across the road, a pretty big iguana, apparently. I mean, iguanas can get pretty big.
They can.
So they both report that they've discovered that it's not a frogman. It was like somebody's pet iguana, but that didn't matter, and the story of the Loveland frog persisted despite them admitting that they had discovered that it was somebody's tailless iguana and they shot it. And whatever, now people still think that you can see the Loveland frogman and he's just jumping around, and he's just a fun little part of Loveland, Ohio lore.
Yeah.
So there's that. I just realized there was a specific cryptid that I really wanted to put in this episode and I didn't, so I might tack it on at the end. Mongolian deathworm.
Okay.
Do you know about the Mongolian deathworm?
No.
All right.
I thought you were going to talk about the one, I think it's Japanese. It's like a riverman, and he's got like a bowl of water in his head.
Oh, no. Nope, I didn't.
That's a funny one.
No, this next one is Japanese,
called?
though. I don't know. A kappa?
Oh. Kappa, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Psyduck is based on.
Yeah. No, Gold Duck, right?
I'm sorry,
Gold Duck
Duck.
is based off of.
Gold Duck is based on a kappa.
Yeah.
They like cucumbers.
Yeah.
That's the thing about a kappa. If you find a kappa, you can give it a cucumber, and they'll be obsessed with that, and they'll leave you alone.
Hey man, I like cucumber.
Yeah, cucumbers are pretty good.
I would prefer a pickle.
I mean, a fresh cucumber with a little salt on it.
Yeah, very good.
Just as good as a pickle. I mean,
And even somebody like me, I don't like a tomato, but I have had a BLC sandwich before. Baconless cucumber, a little salt, pepper on it. Boom.
Yeah, that sounds less good than a BLT, though.
I don't like tomatoes, so it's actually infinitely better.
Well,
yes.
Here's the thing, man. I've said this to you before, but I'm only repeating this for the benefit of our listenership. I think if you're 31, you don't get to not like tomatoes anymore. I think
it's
that's
literally the only food that I don't like.
But they're really good.
I prefer durian to tomatoes. I would eat durian again before I ate tomato, which I didn't really mind durian. I thought durian was kind of good.
I find that such a stubborn approach.
I feel like tomatoes.
I feel like it's like a character trait for you that you have to hold on to not liking tomatoes because you feel like it gives you some sort of character.
It doesn't. I just don't like them. They're gross.
You want to talk about another one?
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah, because that's literally all I've got for us today. So it's good that you said that, because all we're doing is just going through cryptids.
We're just bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, just
bing,
knock
bang,
them out.
boom, bow. And the thing about doing cryptids that are less known, I couldn't do a full episode on any of these.
No, because what are you going to talk about? This fucking weird looking thing?
Yeah, no, exactly. gotta Google this guy. So this is the Ningen.
Oh, I've already got him pulled up.
Oh, you've got the Ningen pulled up. Okay. It's stupid.
I really like this picture.
Which one do you have? The one where it's like standing on the... Oh my god, yep, that's the one. Okay, so...
That's an amazing picture.
It's a demented... It's a fucking demented creature. I hate this thing so fucking much. So if you look up the Ningen, which Evan just did, and it's the video that he just sent me, or the image that he just sent me, they're hysterical to look at. And basically it looks like a giant snowball with like a Pac-Man face walking around on two muscular man's legs.
So as I searched Ningen on Google Images, all of a sudden I see a picture that just says Paul Rudd, Ningen.
Okay.
And I'm like, is there a fucking movie where Paul Rudd stars as a Ningen? And it looks like that is an author with that name, and this is on the Kindle store.
There's an author named Paul Rudd, and he wrote a book about the Ningen.
Dude, I was really hoping. I was really hoping it would be a
this
movie
summer's
star.
blockbuster hit, Paul Rudd in Ningen. And it's about the fucking walking. So here's the thing. Oh my god. Hold on. Oh my god, and it's just like moaning in the sea.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that a lot.
Yeah, man.
So
$1
apparently
billion
it's not
film.
a snowball walking around on man's legs. Apparently
Okay.
it's a 30-meter long sort of human whale hybrid that was spotted by a Japanese, quote, whaling research vessel. We all know what that fucking means. They're killing whales out there.
Yeah. Is it just like a manatee or something?
I don't know. It's all the photos of it are pretty clearly doctored. I think it's just imaginary. It first got spread around on 2channel, which is the precursor to 4chan.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah. People were really into it. And so the thing is, the word Ningen, it just means human in Japanese, which is doubly frustrating because it's clearly a whale snowman with man legs. Like, it's not a human. So it's weird to me that they would call it a human. Sometimes they're shown with arms, like there's another famous photo where it's like kind of like swimming. It's like a top-down view. But they always have these big, dumb Pac-Man faces, and fuck the Ningen, man.
Yeah.
It's just the Ningen sucks. And I can't reiterate to you enough.
If it originated on 2channel, then I believe it.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that is a pretty reputable source. But apparently they live in Antarctica, and that's it. They're just big, dumb whale people.
Yep.
This next one is great. So we're going to talk about... when I tell you about this, you're going to think that I invented it as some sort of hilarious dig at my co-host, Evan. But unfortunately...
I was thinking that this was you.
No, see, that's funny, but unfortunately I beat you to it. So it's wildly untrue, though. It's not about either one of us. We're talking, of course, about the Florida skunk ape, which is like the most Florida-sounding cryptid of all time.
That's just a normal ape. Florida man.
Yeah. So that's okay. Just get it out of your system. I know skunk ape, very silly, but basically the skunk ape is kind of like a Bigfoot. It's a hairy humanoid bipedal ape type thing. It features heavily in Alabama and Florida folklore, dating back to the early days of European colonization. But the defining characteristic of this guy is that he just smells like absolute dog shit. So it's like a Sasquatch, but just really...
It's Florida's
really stinky.
version of the Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's like the smelly Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So the Seminoles, who are the native tribe that were most prominent in Florida, they've got a similar figure in their mythos called Estikapkaki, the cannibal giant, said to wander around eating wayward travelers, but you can tell when he's near because he smells so bad. When you look up pictures of this guy, did you look him up?
Yeah, it just looks like Bigfoot.
It's like Bigfoot, but it's got glowing red eyes, right?
I don't see no glow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so in some of those photos, which are purported to be real, it's got glowing red eyes. Now, one of the main ways that photos like this are debunked is most primates lack the layer in their eye that like creates that shimmering effect in light.
Yeah.
So humans don't get that, like a cat or a dog or something would have.
Yeah.
So they showed them this, and they're just like, well, that's fake, because primates their eyes don't glow.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, but it's a skunk ape, so it's real.
Different type of ape.
Different type of ape. So if you're ever out in the woods of Florida, like in the Everglades or something, and you start to feel like, oh man, it really stinks. What is that stink? What is that really? It's a really bad stink. Better just check around real quick, because you could be being stalked by the Everglades
skunk ape. Yeah.
So this next one is wicked stupid.
Indrid Cold, the smiling man.
Yes, Indrid Cold. So apparently Indrid Cold is an alien. That's the prevailing theory. Indrid Cold looks just like a white middle class kind of guy.
I mean, it just looks like that guy from The Man Who Smiles.
Yeah.
Book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is got a big old freaky grin, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes not.
Yeah.
But
I've actually heard of this one.
yeah. So it's kind of tied in with the Mothman thing. And we're not talking about Mothman today because Mothman's too mainstream. But that's actually really interesting. But I also remember you mentioning you wanted to do a Mothman.
I will be maybe doing a Mothman story in the future.
I remember you saying that, so I made sure to leave.
Different take on it.
Yeah, like the Mothman Prophecies starring Richard Gere and Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
That's Evan's favorite movie.
No.
Evan finds Deborah Messing irresistibly erotic.
Oh, my God. Jeez.
What? Don't be mean to Deborah Messing.
I'll be mean to her, man. She's a fucking dog shit person.
Really?
Oh, yeah, man. She's awful.
I don't know anything about her as a person.
Just look at her Twitter feed. Just very mean-spirited.
Oh. Well, fair enough. So, Indrid Cold is first spotted in New Jersey in October of 1966 by two boys who are out for a stroll. Their names are Mouse Munov and Jimmy Yankitis. Sounds like two 60s Jersey boys.
Yeah.
So they're walking down...
Munov.
So they're walking down the street, and they see this, like, weirdly tall, bald guy who's standing by a fence in front of someone's house. And just as, like, Mouse nudges Jimmy and is like, hey, like, what's up with that guy? He, like, whips his head around, and he's looking right at them, and he's got this big, freaky smile on his face. And they said that he was wearing a green jacket that looked like it was made out of metal. And then apparently he just starts running at them and starts chasing them. He chases them down the block, and then eventually they, like, stop, and they look around, and he's gone.
Yep.
2 weeks later... A man in West Virginia reports seeing a similar figure step out of a UFO that lands in the middle of the road right in front of his car. Yep. Late at night, he stops. He's looking. And a guy of similar description steps out of this UFO, steps up to the window, and then starts to communicate telepathically into this guy's head. And he's like, I'm Indrid Cold. That's my real name, and I mean you no harm.
Yep.
It's very convincing. He then tells him that he's from the planet Lanulos in the Gemides system.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Me too.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's what the whole reason.
Oh, the Ganymedes system?
No, because it's spelled... He wrote Ganymedes. Maybe he meant to say Ganymedes, but he fucked it up.
Right?
Yeah. He was then seen weeks later in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is also home to the Mothman, and was seen around the same time by young Linda Lilly, who reportedly saw the grinning man standing over her bed, which understandably freaked her out. So she opened her eyes. She woke up in the middle of the night and saw him standing in the corner grinning at her, and she closed her eyes and then opened them up, and he was leaning right over, staring at her. And then she was like, ah, screamed, and then closed her eyes again and opened them up, and he was gone.
Okay, yeah.
So the thing is, people think that he's an alien in disguise because... Usually when he shows up, there's reported UFO sightings around the same vicinity and around the same time. And it kind of fits, that classic, alien in disguise mold. He comes up a lot when you hear, stories about the Men in Black and things like that.
So Point Pleasant, too, though, is where the Mothman stuff happened.
Yeah, I said that.
Virginia. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and also, I guess, just for a little... This is around the same time that... MK Ultra was going on, so which is kind of the Mothman take I plan to do for a future episode.
Interesting.
Yeah,
the whole Mothman thing is really fascinating because it's this sort of group psychosis that occurred simultaneously among all these different people in West Virginia at the same time, and they all report seeing this creature.
And then also strange men in black with black suits just acting strange at diners and shit like that.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like observers.
I know. Could be. I wonder.
Because there was that guy who went to a diner and ordered a steak just wearing all black and act like he didn't know how to eat it and then just left.
I don't know anything about that. We'll have to wait for your episode.
Yeah.
You ever hear about the Wolpertinger? Or the Wolpertinger?
No.
So the Wolpertinger is the prototypical jackalope. It's what the jackalope is based on.
Look at this fucking
Oh,
thing.
dude, they're awesome. So
I have definitely seen these things taxidermied
Yes.
on walls of taverns in New Hampshire or some shit.
Sure. So you've seen a jackalope. It's like a taxidermied rabbit that has little deer antlers or antelope antlers on it. The Wolpertinger is essentially the same thing. They're developed much earlier in Bavaria by taxidermists. So it's basically like a bunny rabbit that has deer antlers, but also has pheasant's wings and like big vampire fangs and talons.
I want one as a pet.
And they want to drink your blood. They look cute and cuddly, but they want to swoop down and bite your dick off.
Well, I want my dick bit off, so.
So yeah, look, that's the Wolpertinger.
That's all we got on that one, folks.
That's all we've got on that. I don't know. Some of these I couldn't find much. Like I would I was just looking at various databases and lists of cryptids to find the weirdest, most fringe ones I could find.
Shit, hell yeah! What the fuck is this next one?
The Madagascar tree.
Yeah, the big old Venus flytrap.
Yeah. So the Madagascar tree is reportedly just a normal tree in Madagascar.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's a tree that eats people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing a trend? So the Madagascar tree was first reported by a guy named Karl Loch, who's a German who was exploring the island of Madagascar in the 1870s. And he sends a letter to the New York World, which was a newspaper at the time, and describes seeing this tree and like the ritual sacrifice that occurs around it by this tribe of people called the Mkodo, which is not a real tribe in Madagascar, but he didn't give a fuck. I mean, this whole thing is probably completely made up. And there's sort of old school, shitty, racist depictions of like cannibalism and human sacrifice by native peoples here, which are things that occurred, but they're pretty rare, like across global history. You don't see a ton of cannibalism going on. People are mostly pretty averse to that.
That's a good way to get prions.
Yeah, exactly. You get kuru.
It kind of selects itself out of, out of the, natural selection, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you go nuts. You become a Wendigo, which is another cryptid that I won't be discussing today.
But just know that there is a Wendigo.
The Wendigo's out there. So he writes this letter and sends it to the New York World. And I figured the whole letter I found online, so I'm just going to read it because I think this is fun, and it's the longest description that I found of any of these creatures. And apparently, it's a first-hand account of seeing the Madagascar tree. So I'm going to try to do it in his Bavarian accent.
Yep.
If you can, imagine a pineapple 8 feet high and thick in proportion, resting upon its base and denuded of leaves. You will have a good idea of the trunk of the tree, which, however, was not the color of an banana, but a dark and dingy brown, and apparently as hard as iron. From the apex of this truncated cone, at least 2 feet in diameter, 8 leaves hung sheer to the ground, like doors swung back on their hinges. These leaves, which were joined to the top of the tree at irregular intervals, were about 11 or 12 feet long and shaped very much like the leaves of the American aguave, or century plant. They were 2 feet through in the thickest part and 3 feet wide, tapering to a sharp point that looks like a cow's horn, very convex on the outer, but now under, surface, and on the inner, now upper, surface, slightly concave. This concave face was thickly set with very strong thorny hooks, like those upon the head of the teasel. I don't know what a teasel is. I didn't even look it up.
Yeah, I don't know what a teasel.
These leaves, hanging thus limp and lifeless, dead green in color, had an appearance of massive strength of oak fiber. The apex of the cone was a round, white, concave figure, like a smaller plate set within a larger one. This was not a flower, but a receptacle, and there exuded into it a clear, treacly liquid, honey-sweet and possessed of violent, intoxicating, and soporific properties. From underneath the rim, so to speak, of the undermost plate, a series of long, hairy green tendrils stretched out in every direction towards the horizon. These were 7 or 8 feet long each and tapered from 4 inches to a half an inch in diameter, yet they stretched out stiffly as iron rods. Above these, from the upper and under cup, 6 white, almost transparent palpi reared themselves toward the sky, twirling and twisting with a marvelous incessant motion, yet constantly reaching upwards. Thin as reeds and frail as quills, apparently, they were yet 5 or 6 feet tall, and were so constantly and vigorously in motion, with such a subtle, sinuous, silent throbbing against the air, that they made me shudder in spite of myself, with their suggestion of serpent flayed yet dancing on their tails. The Mkodos, when they saw the tree, began shouting, "Tepe! Tepe!" Then they surrounded one of their women and forced her, at javelin point, to climb the tree until she reached the apex of the cone that contained the treacly fluid. "Tzik, tzik," the Mkodo men cried, which meant, "Drink, drink." Obediently, she drank, and then, almost instantly, the slender palpi of the tree came alive, quivered, and seized her around her neck and arms. She screamed, but the tendrils gripped her tighter, strangling her, until her cries became a gurgled moan. The contraction of the tendrils caused the fluid of the tree to stream down its trunk, mingling with the blood and oozing viscera of the victim. The Mkodos rushed forward to drink this mixture of blood and tree fluid. Then ensued a grotesque and indescribably hideous orgy. So yeah, that's the tree. That's the Madagascar tree.
Okay, well, he had me at a pineapple that was 8 feet high.
Yeah, it's a big pineapple.
Well, he had me... I love pineapple. I would eat this pineapple.
I don't think you would want to, because I think this pineapple would want to eat you.
If it stopped there. Just give me the 8-foot pineapple.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a lot of pineapple, though. Like, think about the amount of
all at once. I would have friends over. We would have some kind of sick pineapple party, just deranged.
So much
chanting
hey
around
guys,
the pineapple.
Does anybody want to come over and help me eat 500 pounds of pineapple? It's more pineapple than I know what to do with.
And I know what to do with a lot of pineapple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on over, guys. Do you know that pineapple has an enzyme in it where it digests you as you're eating
Everybody knows this.
I know. I'm saying that's what you would say to them, and then they'd be like, "Yeah, man, we know. We'll be right over."
Yeah. We have a lot of digesting to do.
We've got a lot of pineapple to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to eat it. It's 8 feet tall, and it's denuded of leaves.
Pineapple festen. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was in.
Okay.
Anyway. So, the next creature on my list is the bunyip.
Yeah.
Which is another good cryptid. Not like that stupid fucking skunk ape.
Yeah.
The bunyip is...
Although I have had the same picture come up for both. So
the bunyip
there's
and
one
the skunk
picture
ape?
that now says the Australian bunyip. Before the same picture, it said the Florida skunk ape.
That's so funny. Well, so the thing about the bunyip is it has no defined appearance.
Yeah.
It's simultaneously described as being something that's like
tabula rasa.
Yes. It could be like a cross between a seal and a dog, sort of like our first creature.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's described as like a giant 5-legged starfish thing. But then also there's
like Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones. And so a bunyip can kind of just be like an all-encompassing term for like a demon or like a boogeyman in certain Aboriginal
nasty
languages.
Water beastie.
Yeah, it's a water creature again. They're generally amphibious and nocturnal. They live in rivers, creeks, ponds, and billabongs.
I used to wear that clothing company when I was a child.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
So if you walk by the wrong billabong at night, you might end up getting got by a bunyip.
Okay.
Because like a lot of these other creatures, they want to eat you. They wait there and then they want to eat you.
Yep.
The prevailing theory is that the bunyip is actually like a type of cultural memory passed on by Aboriginal peoples in Australia, and this can be used to describe a lot of these cryptids. So cultural memories being like sort of an ancestral depiction of a creature or another group of people that no longer exists but have survived through the mythology of another group of people, and over time obviously become sort of heavily mythologized, but ultimately it's like a cultural remembering of something that really existed at one point.
Yeah.
So the bunyip is thought to be a representative of any number of large terrestrial carnivorous marsupials that used to be around that went extinct shortly after the Pleistocene. So imagine just like a giant carnivorous wombat, like jumping out of a pond and disemboweling you. And you've got the bunyip.
Yeah, you got the bunyip in you.
Yep.
The bunyip's on you now.
You've been bunyipped, boy.
Yeah.
Christ, it's hot, huh?
Yeah. It's getting hot.
Dude, this sucks.
Fucking 80 degrees still.
Yeah.
Up here. At this.
I just want
at this height.
this altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, second floor of an old house. All I want is to turn on my AC, but I can't. Because then you won't be able to hear me describe the Nargun.
Yeah, which I searched Nargun, but I'm pretty sure one of the pictures that came up is just a slee stack, so.
What's a slee stack again?
What was that from, fucking...
The Land of the Lost?
Yeah, Land of the Lost, yeah.
So...
Those fucking weird little dudes.
So Narguns are also
Not slee stacks.
an Australian Aboriginal myth, and they have some really, really cool creatures in their mythology. So I thought we would talk about this one too. Reportedly, the Nargun is like a man made of stone, and he's said to inhabit a partially submerged cave, appropriately named the Den of the Nargun, which is on a small tributary of the Mitchell River in Mitchell River National Forest Reserve in Victoria, Australia. So according to Aboriginal legend, the Nargun would, get this, ambush unsuspecting travelers and drag them into its den to eat them. That's kind of
gotta eat something.
That's what they all do. The cool thing about the Nargun, though, is that it's impenetrable. It cannot be harmed.
Cool.
It's invulnerable, rather. And any weapons thrown at it would be directed back towards the thrower. And you get killed by the Nargun. It's like that cheeky stone man played by Taika Waititi in Thor Ragnarok, except he wants to eat you.
Fuck you, Ghost.
Yeah.
No,
So, you know how I talked at the start about like the various tropes? We've talked about a lot of water beasts. We've talked about at least one giant walking ape man. We talked about the Loveland frog. So our daily example of like the little people of the woods trope is going to be the Menehune.
Yeah, I was just looking this up. This just kind of looks like cool little woods people.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're just like people hanging out in the woods having a good ass time.
I think these are my favorite cryptid that I discovered for this episode.
Yeah.
I think the Menehune rock.
Yeah.
And they're little like Hawaiian woods gnomes, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say leprechauns because fuck leprechauns. So they live in the woods.
Everybody who saw the leprechaun say yeah.
I'll have to put that in here.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
That ain't a leprechaun. That's just a crackhead who got a hold of the wrong stuff.
That's funny. So Menehune, they live out in the woods, right? And their favorite food is bananas, which I think is just the cutest thing in the world. I really can't get enough of these little pot-bellied people.
Yeah, they're just having a good time.
They're having a good time. They're eating bananas. They also like fish. And so they're expert craftspeople. They build just about everything that you can imagine. But one thing that they're really, really good at is building fish ponds. Now, the ancient Hawaiians were actually pretty adept in aquaculture. So they would build like brackish ponds inland from the sea and stock them with various species of fish, like schools of fish, which they then had like traps and stuff devised to kind of routinely harvest and catch them. And it's one of the important ways that they were able to keep themselves fed, because Hawaii, famously, there's not a ton of large natural wildlife there. There's a lot of birds, there's a lot of fish. There's not a lot of like game animals. There weren't a lot of like livestock. A lot of the ones that are there now have been introduced, as invasive species. So they had to find some way to survive. And that actually is a topic I would love to do an episode on, is like the ancient Polynesian expansion, because it's one of the most impressive feats in human history.
Yeah, those motherfuckers went places.
They went everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you look on a map at like the vast, I mean, 99.9% of it is ocean, and it's just like these tiny specks of land. It's like,
there's nothing in the South Pacific.
Yeah, how did they find, like, they just did it. They just spread
like,
all
look
over.
at the distance between Hawaii and Tahiti and shit like that.
Yeah, Hawaii and New Zealand, it's pretty insane. And they were all over there, so oh my goodness, sorry. Oh man, I didn't sleep that well last night. I'm a fucking sad person right now.
Nice.
Oh, I'm just not feeling very good. I mean, I'm gonna cut that out. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new cryptid, the feeling well cam.
Oh man, no. It's just because I'm just going through some shit right now.
Yeah, I know.
So they famously, the Menehune were really good at aquaculture. And there's this fish pond that's still in existence called the Alekoko Menehune Fish Pond, which is just fun to say. And apparently they built this overnight. Now, the thing about the Menehune is any project that they started that they weren't able to finish in the course of the same night they started it, they would abandon. Because if people found it, then they would like worry that the people would wait there and like try to catch them, because they would know that they were going to come back to finish it. So basically everything they made overnight. And so this famous fish pond is there that apparently the Menehune made to help keep themselves fed, and it just like appeared overnight. They're also frightened of owls, and if I was like a little forest person, I would probably be pretty afraid of owls too.
Yeah, because owls like to kill little animals.
They do. And so when the Menehune became too plentiful, the Hawaiian owl god Paupueo would send his owls out to scare them away and eat them. And there wasn't much more about that, and it seems kind of mean of Paupueo.
Yeah, maybe he was actually Moloch.
Yeah, maybe Hillary Clinton worships Paupueo, the owl god. And it's just a secret war.
The Menehune were like
we
children.
should start like a QAnon adjacent Menehune themed conspiracy theory about like little Hawaiian gnomes that are like running the government.
Yeah. The Menehune takeover of the United States government.
That's it. It's the Menehune. We could come up with all these like really cool sort of veiled ways to talk about Menehune.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like when people talk about the Rothschilds, like really what they're saying is like, oh, we're afraid of Jews.
Yeah, them with like parentheses.
Yeah. We'll do that, but with the Menehune, who I think are like the real threat, the real nemesis.
Yeah. The ancient enemy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it. Oh, wait, no, there's one more that I wanted to talk to you about.
But you didn't put it in there.
Yeah, I forgot. I just realized right now that I didn't write it, even though I had every intention of talking about it. So the last one is the Mongolian deathworm, which is known in Mongolian as Olgoi Korkoi, which means large intestine worm. Okay. And it's supposedly, and people still believe that it's out there, but supposedly it's like a 2 foot long, segmented sausage shaped worm that is so venomous that coming into any contact with it kills you. And apparently it lives out in the most remote.
I think I've heard of this too.
Yeah, like sandy regions of the Gobi Desert. And if you venture
out,
dude. Yeah.
Whoa, sandworms. You hate them, right? I hate them myself.
It can also apparently shoot lightning, or shoot poison. And again, to touch this poison is immediate death. Yeah. And it lives out in the desert of Mongolia, and it's the Mongolian deathworm, folks.
Yep.
That's that. So that's it. That's I don't know. I might do another cryptid episode someday, so I didn't talk about like everything, but yeah, those are our VIP cryptid superstars for the day.
Yep.
What do you think?
Tag yourself. I'm the Ningen.
There you go.
You're the tree thing.
No, I think I'm the skunk ape.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you are that.
Yeah. I know I tried to play it off like that was you, but I think we both know that's me.
Yeah, there's only one of us that has a Nevis. A giant hairy
Giant
Nevis.
and hairy.
Which I myself think is its own cryptid, but...
No, there's proof of that. I'll show you the Nevis.
I've seen it, man.
No,
You're
can...
not the only Nevis wearing person I've ever met either.
I know, me neither. And mine's actually not that bad compared to...
Yeah, no, I have seen a fucking Nevis before. Like, this fella used to call it the Chewbacca patch.
Yep. Oh, man, that's right. That was, yeah.
I mean, that was as thick of hair as I have on my head.
Right.
Just on somebody's back.
Gross.
Yeah, nar, dude, nar.
Oh my goodness. All right, so that's my episode for this week. I'm going to be going again next week, and that one's another deeply researched one. So I don't know.
I've got a lot of research to do for my next one.
Yeah, me too. So I thought that I would keep it simple and just talk about some stupid fucking creatures today. And there's no long narrative. There's no secret agenda. I just like them. I just like learning about weird little beasties that people think live out in the woods.
Weird little types of wood guys.
Yeah, different types of wood guys and swamp guys and sea guys.
Water guys, snow guys.
I didn't talk about any flying guys, did I?
No.
Briefly about Paupueo, the owl god, but...
I think Wendigos fly, right?
I don't think so.
Because they're like little wind beasties.
No, the Wendigo is like a spirit of like cannibalistic hunger. They
thought they were like little wind guys.
I thought you were talking about the Thunderbird or something, but no, the Wendigo is it just sounds like wind, and I think that's the only connection.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought they traveled on the wind. Maybe not. Okay. Cool.
No. They don't. Anyway, that's that.
Okay.
That's the episode for this week. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really. No, I've got nothing.
Cool. I think a nice 50-minute episode is good.
Tight 50.
A nice tight 50.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to Left Unread. I hope that you look up some of these cryptids, and if you find any cryptids in your backyard, please shoot them and kill them and bag them and send them to us.
Taxidermy them, please.
Yeah, please taxidermy them if you ever come across a Vulpatinga or anything like that. You can, as always, find links to Instagram and all that shit in our episode description. Email us, leftunreadpod@gmail.com. And we hope
Twitter,
to see...
Facebook, all that shit.
All that stupid fucking garbage. And we hope to see you guys again next week because we got a bunch more shit in store for you. So have a great week.
Yep. Okay, yep. Okay, see ya. Yep.